Dan and I used to live in a flat together, so we purified our system every night.
You see?
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
Happy bank holiday. But I want to say, I've got one of my tedious coasters again, and I have to just show it to you. Once we realise we are all mad, life starts to make sense. I just thought I'd share that on the bank holiday Monday.
I felt that all my life.
There you go.
Spot on, mate.
But first of all, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yes.
Like and follow us on Facebook.
And follow us on Twitter. And don't forget to tweet.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And Dee and I have got our lovely T-shirts that says thank you to NHS, Mike Healy, little bit of you. There you go.
And be strong, which we all are, obviously.
We're trying.
Very, very strong.
Trying.
It's Albie's birthday today, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Albie. That's your lovely grandson.
Yes,
He's
two.
two. Bless him.
Oh, lovely.
Bless.
Yeah, and we have to say congratulations to Tracy May for winning the comp.
Yes.
Which was,
Yeah, I mean, I am happy for her, but I'm also a little bit bitter because Debbie and I obviously wanted to win.
I know you did.
Yes,
you entered, didn't you?
No.
Yes.
You can't have everything you want in life, Harriet.
Apparently,
Exactly.
You learn this.
Yes. No,
and
I'm resistant.
yesterday, Sherrie and I did the first Q&A.
Oh,
And
yes, we did.
I have to say, one of the questions was, how long have you all known each other? And of course, we've known each other for yonks, but at different times. But I've got to say, which we didn't say, and I've got to say a big shout out and thank you to our gorgeous Debbie, right? Yes. Who actually brought us together. Ta-da!
Yes. Who got us all together to do this.
Yes, you did.
Well, it's because I love you all. Because you're all so crackers.
And we love you.
Can you tell us about the next competition, please, girls?
Yes, I will tell you about the next competition because Harriet and I are doing the next Facebook Live on Sunday.
We are.
And we will know about the prizes, won't we, Harriet?
We certainly will at 4 p.m. on Sunday, this Sunday coming. It's very exciting, but we can't say too much now. But, you know, as soon as we can start entering next week, isn't it? Not yet, but then we're going to have a whole load of brand new, exciting prizes.
So now, ladies, I want you all to stop talking because the most important moment, my very, very beautiful flatmate, not now, I have to say, and not in a biblical sense, but we had the best of times.
I'm glad we've got clarity there.
Daniel Brocklebank from Curry, who plays Billy Mayhew the Vicar. Where are you, Daniel?
Afternoon. Welcome to the nest, Daniel.
Hi.
Good afternoon, ladies. Are we all well?
So good to see you.
You too. You too. Lovely to
We can't see each other at all, but you know.
I know.
I know. So how, Daniel, first of all, tell us how you are and how you've been coping. I know you have a bar at home and people can join you, can't they?
Indeed.
For cocktails.
It is a virtual bar, of course.
Yes, of course.
And initially, it started by, when we first went into lockdown, I just tweeted, I was just being stupid, a picture of my empty living room saying that I'd just arrived at Dan's bar with a glass of Prosecco. There was a free glass of Prosecco on entry and how wonderful, the atmosphere was amazing. And as you could see, it was packed. And of course, there was no one else in here. A friend from work, Sue Cleaver, who plays Eileen in Corrie, texted me and said, "Oh, I want to come to Dan's bar for a gin." And I said, "Oh my God, amazing." So we started chatting online, and then a few other people, and it just sort of joined, and then it grew, and then we started to theme the nights, and it just gave all of us. I mean, it started with just having a bit of dinner together, so we were not eating on our own, and then some evenings we'd just pop in for 10 minutes. Other evenings we'd be there all night,
forever.
And it was a really lovely sort of way to support each other and to be able to feel like you were having that contact, but by adhering to the distancing rules.
I know, because you are on your own, aren't you, Daniel?
Yeah.
So, you know,
What I'm glad,
Daniel,
can I say I'm glad that you're actually, with all the alcohol, you're purifying your system inside and out. And I think that's very important to realise.
It really is.
Dan and I used to live in a flat together, so we purified our system every night.
You see?
I don't
I
think
bet.
we any purer.
We never stopped.
I know, Daniel, you're an amazing singer. Because yes, amazing singer. And you were on the All-Star, you won, didn't you? And with amazing acclaim.
I did.
So,
it was such a lovely experience. I mean, I do sing, and I mean, I've been an actor for 27 years, and that has been predominantly, you know, where I've worked within the arts. But I do sing. I mean, as Sherrie will say, and I play the piano as well. So when we lived together, we used to sit.
Yeah,
but
brilliant.
Something that I've never really used for work.
Yes.
And when the opportunity to do All-Star musicals came up, I jumped it because I thought, wow, wonderful to be able to kind of let people know that you do something else as well.
Yes,
you know,
of course.
And it was the most wonderful experience because I'm used to sitting at home and playing and singing, but to do it in front of an audience and of such caliber as well, you know, the panel that we were sort of performing for, and learned a huge amount about it, you know, out of it as well. And out of it came work, which was even better. Which, you know, as a freelance performer, as we all know, you know, it's work generates.
Didn't you sing at festivals?
I did. I sang at the Lytham Music Festival,
which is enormous.
Oh, fantastic!
You couldn't see where they ended. It was phenomenal.
What's so extraordinary about your career is it also has such diversity, and it's. I'm interested to know, what was the first moment in your life that you knew you were a performer?
Well, I grew up pretty much in the middle of a field. My parents they breed horses, so they are out in the country, just outside of Stratford-upon-Avon, which is where I grew up, and I was not rural at all. I did not fit into this sort of farming community. I was drawn to the piano from a very young age for no reason at all. There is no performers in my immediate family. I do not come from a sort of performing background. But my grandmother, my mum's mum, she was a singer, and they needed some kids for an amateur dramatic show that she was doing. And I would have been about 8. And she said, would you like to come and, you know, audition? And I said, yes, I would. So I did. And that's it. I knew from then on, I thought, this is something I'm good at. This is something I'm good at.
Absolutely. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was the bug absolutely bitten in. I mean, I remember the deep sadness I used to feel when a show finished, because she used to run them for sort of 6 or 7 performances, you know, and you'd have this massive 6-month rehearsal period where you for a couple of hours a week. You know.
Yes,
it's so fascinating, that journey, and it's not like we have a choice. It's not like, oh, I don't know, I'll choose to. No, we have to do this.
It is. It's vocational. It absolutely is.
It is.
You know, and I do believe that everything happens the way that it's meant to, you know, and I sort of, at that point, I think for me, the universe started to sort of shift and align a little bit. And, you know, I was very fortunate to be growing up where I was in 1995. The Royal Shakespeare Company, which is obviously based in Stratford, were putting on a production of Lord of the Flies, and they wrote to all the local schools. By this point, I'd been doing lambda training outside of school and all this kind of stuff anyway. I wrote to the local schools. They were holding an open audition, and my drama teacher came in and said to me, look, we think you should audition for this. So I went and ended up with one of the lead roles. And from there, it just sort of spiraled, and that was it. It just, I never really stopped. You know, it was crazy, really.
Yeah.
And here you are in Coronation Street, which is what, you know, which is what I love about our business is, you know, you can see the Royal Shakespeare Company and you're in Coronation Street, and it's all
absolutely.
So tell me, Daniel, what everybody has been dying to hear. Are you going back to work, and how is it going to work?
Oh, well, I mean, yes, of course, we are going back to work. Thank goodness. I cannot wait. That will be a very joyous day to work. Albeit, it's going to be very different. I mean, obviously, Emmerdale have already gone back. So they are currently sort of testing the water with the new guidelines that have been set out for us. I have to say that I think we had a meeting last Friday on Zoom, obviously, and I have to say that I am incredibly impressed with what they are doing to ensure that cast and crew are at absolute sort of safety best. I mean, it is incredible. However, it is going to be an incredibly different working environment. So it is going to take some getting used to. I mean, obviously the social distancing is in place, but there will be very, very few people on set. We're used to having large crews more with us.
Yeah.
No rovers then, Dan. No rovers. No rovers. No.
Well, obviously no. I mean, I think that it has to be introduced into the world of Weatherfield, COVID, because we are representing life, albeit a heightened version of. And if people can't go and have a pint with their mates in the real world, the characters can't be having it. It'll be non-relatable.
And presumably, you do your own makeup now as well, then.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if there's specialist makeup required, then full PPE will be, put on.
Wow.
Makeup
So
artist.
what's, I mean, makeup artists. I never thought about makeup artists.
Yeah,
What's going to happen?
I think
they can't go.
Yes.
it will be done remotely. So if for continuity purposes, your handbag was on the other shoulder, it will come over rather than somebody coming in and tweaking it.
Yeah.
There will be
Oh,
no.
what about your hair?
Dan,
What about your hair,
Tony
Daniel?
Maudsley, who is in Benidorm with me, is joining you, isn't he?
He is.
As the Undertaker.
Indeed. Yeah.
He'll be
You and
busy.
him will be very busy.
But I do hope so. I mean, obviously it's such a fun place to work, and when you do get to work with somebody that you can have an absolute hoot with, because obviously the days are long, and there's a lot of prep involved prior to shooting. So if when you get there you can have a giggle, that's great. I don't know how much of a giggle we're going to be able to have under the new.
Well, I can tell you.
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll find out what's about.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my goodness!
I've never met you, but I can't wait to give you a big virtual snuggle.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be wonderful. Yes, thank you so much for having me
Thank
on.
you.
We're going to meet up, aren't we, Dan, in the next few weeks?
And keep
Yeah.
purifying.
Soon.
Make sure
Keep
you stay
singing.
purifying, darling.
I will indeed. I will.
Must
Thanks, Harriet.
purify all the time.
I will.
Keep the bar going.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's been
Oh.
gorgeous. Sherrie,
Fabulous.
where did you live with him?
We did Emmerdale together.
Oh,
And I think it was 2005, 6 and 7. So
Oh.
we had a house together, and he was just brilliant. We would eat together at night, and we drink a lot, and go
That's a
out
big
a lot.
departure, darling. That's a big departure.
I was going to say,
Emmerdale is a very very social world. So you were out
Yeah.
in the
yes.
house. So but I
Fabulous.
just adore him. He's just gorgeous.
He's
And
lovely,
we'll
isn't he?
I'm meeting up with him, socially distancing in the next few weeks. So he is
Oh.
Daniel Brocklebank.
How lovely.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
well, guys, I mean, we need to find out what's going on in the world of soap. Has
Yes,
Stephen
we do.
Murphy arrived?
Hi there.
Hello, Stephen.
Hello.
Have we disturbed you on this lovely bank holiday afternoon?
All I'm saying is I've only got a top half on. That's all.
Well,
That's too much
Very
information.
So have we.
Way too much
Yeah.
information.
Definitely.
Stephen, I just want to tell you, we've just had Daniel Brocklebank on.
Oh, lovely Daniel.
I know, he's
Yes.
one of my oldest friends, and I adore him. And he was talking to us about going back and how they're all so desperate and itchy to get back. And Emmerdale's already gone back.
Yes, they started
He was
this week.
saying how strange it's going to be because they've already told them that there can only be, I think, 2 or 3 people in, at any one time, and they've got to be 2 meters
Yeah.
apart. No rovers. I assume no hairdressers, no restaurant, nothing. And he was saying that although it was strange, it's quite an interesting time for everybody to get to grips with this.
I think it's the one. I've always thought the one thing that soap has that nothing else has is that it can just be 2 people sat on a sofa, and that's all you actually need sometimes. So I actually think that the stuff that Emmerdale are doing this week, they started filming this week, which is just individual couples in house. I think because you've got all that history, you know the characters so well. There's so much lovely stuff you can do, and it's going to be different. But I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be quite comforting. I think people will
And Emmerdale have their village that they can distance, because they can walk around in the village. They've got, you know, the playground. They've got even outside the pub, actually, to be honest.
Yes.
And Corrie hasn't got that so much, have they?
Well, I mean, Corrie's a bit better. When they moved a few years ago to the new set, everything's bigger. I think it would have been very hard. The set you worked on, Sherrie, I think it would have been very difficult, because that was a lot older, a lot more cramped. So I think
he did say that what was amazing is that they're going to be bringing COVID into the storylines, which makes sense because that's what we're living through. But also pubs, as we know, are doing takeaways as well. There are some pubs that are doing takeaway drinks. So there is opportunity, and shops where you have to socially distance. So there is a possibility of people, you know, restaurants are doing takeaways. Yeah. So there is an opportunity to integrate all of those things into the stories as well. Yeah. And also I was thinking, in the past, when I was a kid, and I remember watching Corrie, you didn't have vast outside things. Often it was like scenes with two or three people in a front room. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Stephen, I was going to ask you, because you're so like a walking encyclopedia of soaps.
Don't test me.
Can I just ask you, have you always loved soaps? I mean, was it like when you were a kid you watched soaps and you got into them?
Yeah, I was sort of brought up, weaned on them, I think, in a way. I think particularly because I'm from the west of Scotland, where it rains from September to about May. I mean, I'm not joking. It rains constantly. I think I spent a lot of time inside watching the telly. And my mum always watched them, so I was always really interested in them. I mean, I remember them from when I was really quite young, following the plots.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's the answer then. Yeah.
But Steve, I mean, before you started with Inside Soap, what you were just a journalany. What happened? How did you get the job?
I always did celebrity stuff. I started off doing a lot of pop, a lot of any, you name one rubbish boy band from the 90s, and I've done never any of the good ones, always the rubbish ones. So, you know, I did a lot of that. I did a lot of TV stuff as well, and through that I actually kind of got into soaps because I started doing a lot of Australian soap stars, a lot of Home and Away Neighbours, because this was kind of like early mid-90s. They were still really huge, and that's kind of how my speciality sort of moved sort of into soaps, and over that way was
how interesting. Yeah.
I remember actually when I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 32, I remember actually getting completely hooked on soaps and watching Neighbours at lunchtime, and then Home and Away in the afternoon, and then EastEnders in the evening. I thought, oh my God, I'm getting a soap head, you know.
Very easy.
But I remember a similar thing when I was pregnant with my son, who's 30 now. I would watch Neighbours, and when the theme tune came on once he was born, he'd always be very quiet, and I wondered if he'd listen to it when he was in my stomach.
I realised.
Somebody was telling me, Stephen, a couple of days ago about the soaps. They were saying, strangely, this might be a good time because, you know, we've had all the big blockbuster, you know, whatever, trams for, and, you know, and now the Jasmine and Jeff storyline, which I'm assuming will come to an end very shortly. And they said this will take us back to when the characters had a storyline. There'd be two characters in the storyline. You'd follow that storyline through. You might get three characters, but it wouldn't be the big blockbusting. And they're all going to have to follow suit because, you know, they're all going to have to do 2 people, 3 people. And he was saying, I think it'll take them back to the character-led rather than the big blockbuster-led storylines.
I'm a huge fan of Back to Basics. I think that's the one great thing that soaps have that they can do. So I think we with the viewers, I think it might sort of learn the lesson that maybe you don't need something blown up every 3 weeks or a murder.
You don't need a plane crash or a tram crash.
I mean, it's not quite like that. Those they have those things to give big peaks, and actually I think the thing the soaps always really well has always kept the character stuff going in as well. So they've always kept the character stuff to kind of offset all the big dramatic stuff. Sometimes the balance might have gone a little bit, but I think, you know, as long as there's scenes every now and then with 2 people sat on a sofa, I'm fine.
I also can't believe everyone used to do them live. And Crossroads, I remember being live.
They used to do one live. They used to do 2 back to back, I think.
But extraordinary to do one live. I mean, the idea of doing it now, everyone is in an absolute terrified state. Yeah. But it was the norm. And I remember watching Crossroads and adoring moments when they would go wrong or something would fall. And of course, that's what Vic did later on.
And you had to carry on.
Yes.
The great thing about Crossroads was, I don't think Crossroads was ever live. It certainly wasn't when it was in colour. But
no, it was before. I think
the budget was so low they couldn't afford to do any cuts. So that's why it didn't make it live. They couldn't afford to do any edits. So it just went. You just kept going. Every now and then, because I'm a bit daft, I'll go back and I've got a big box set of Crossroads from like the 70s. Every now and then I'll go back and watch a little batch. And it's so well observed what she did with Take On Antiques. You don't actually realise how cleverly observed it was till you go back to the top.
Spot on.
And look at
But Stephen, do you remember, because I did the camp Crossroads.
Oh yes.
Do you remember that in 2000?
Really? I did an episode. I did a couple of episodes as well.
Yeah.
I did as well. It was if Carlton and Granada hadn't eaten Carlton, then Carlton television was like, it would have gone on because it was becoming such a cult.
Yes.
It was the most outrageous thing I've ever done in my life. It was fantastic. Everybody was in it. I mean, everybody you could think of in this business.
It was hysterical. I can't remember. I played somebody with huge hair for a change. It was the most hysterical thing to do.
Oh, it was wonderful. Nottingham Studios was one of the best studios in this country. And sadly, of course, like all studios, it's gone. But it was the campus thing. And I've often wondered, I thought, if that had gone on, it would have been a cult show. But we enjoyed it anyway.
Virginia Raven, is that your name, Sherrie?
That's it.
Even the names were camp.
She had hair like this. She was the campiest thing on 2 legs, and she was the forerunner of Joyce Temple Savage.
Yes,
there you go.
Really was.
There you go.
Yeah.
He was the baby.
So Steve, how do you think that it's going to pan out? How are they going to sort of like stitch it together from the episodes that have stopped? Are they just going to stop because they obviously can't catch up?
Yeah, I presume. I'm kind of thinking these Emmerdale lockdown episodes that they're doing, which are only 2 sets of characters, I presume they're just to reset everything.
Right.
To kind of everyone now, what's happened, everyone's now on lockdown, and then we'll continue from there. So I presume that's what they're doing. As for Coronation Street, we don't quite know how they're going to pick it up. What kind of
they've got storylines to finish, haven't they?
Yeah,
Jasmine and Jeff haven't finished.
So maybe the easiest way might be that you go back and, in the terms of the story, a couple of weeks have passed. Just so you're not there, because also everyone's going to be fat and has changed their hair is the main issue. Because everyone's inside eating and shaving their own hair and dyeing their own hair for 2 months. So that you can't really go from that scene shot 2.5 months ago to a new one because the continuity.
Not without a lot of filtering. You can't.
Yeah. So I think there might just be a little gap in the story we didn't see, and then everything sort of stuck.
Thank you so much for being with us. Will you come back and see us again soon?
Please.
Always a pleasure.
Come and see us again soon.
Really interesting. Thank you,
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Now, girls, what is happening Wednesday?
Oh, right. Well, the gorgeous Amy Hart from Love Island will be with us, everybody.
Oh,
and everybody loves Amy Hart.
Is she bringing her makeup bag with her?
I'm going to message her and say to bring her makeup bag on.
Good. She looks fab, doesn't she? She looks gorgeous.
Oh, she's gorgeous. She'll put us all to shame, but never mind. Carry on drinking.
Standard.
So I don't mean
purifying.
Tea. Carry on drinking tea.
Yes, carry on.
Of course.
No, we have to purify. Come on.
Yes, purify and hydrate.
Well, I'm drinking my tea today, so
as motivational Monday, girls, what are we going to be motivated to do this week?
Well, I'm going to be doing the walk, virtual walking. Well, I'm really walking, but it's a virtual walk together, alone together. But I'll be doing that.
When is that, Harriet? Today?
Yeah, well, I do it every day now. It started on Friday, and it's the moon walk, and there was one in England, Scotland, and Iceland. And what we're all doing together is that we're walking 2 or 3 or 5, or whatever you want, and we're going to put all our miles together and see if we can actually virtually walk as many of us as possible to Iceland. That's the idea.
So
it's just a bit of fun to raise money for breast cancer, to keep fighting that fight.
How do you walk virtually, Harriet?
Well, no, this is where you're going to be confused, darling, because you actually have to really walk.
Yes.
And then the virtual walk is all of us going to Iceland. So we do have to walk. So you get out there with the dog and you walk.
And outside, you walk outside.
Yes, darling. Yeah, yes, you do it because we can go outside to exercise, socially distanced.
Yes.
And I was out yesterday, every day with my mask and things. But it depends where you're walking and how many people are around. But you can walk for 2, 3, whatever it is. And then the virtual walk is all of us imagining we're putting all our miles together, and you can sign on.
And did you get to Iceland? Yeah.
That sounds fabulous.
And you don't mean Iceland, the shop?
No,
Sherrie. The shop.
No, darling, because that's not even a mile away from any of us. That's down the road. So yeah, no.
4 miles from me.
The country, darling. The country.
The country.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I have to say
that's my motivational Monday.
I'm going to do that, and also I'm going to meditate a lot this week.
Anyway, I'll see you on Wednesday, girls.
What are you doing, Debbie? What are you going to do? Oh, they're not being motivated at all.
I'm going to meditate.
Not motivated at all.
Bye.
Meditating again. Bye.
No motivational. It should be not motivational Monday. We're the only people left here. Oh well,
We
I
are.
can't listen to you chanting, so I'm off as well. Bye.
Meditation. Bye. It's just me. Never mind. Meditate with me. Don't mind the others. Bye.